welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners worldwide. Please do me a favor, hit that like button and share this video podcast with your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's free. Help make this video podcast go viral by posting this link on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and or on your Twitter page. This video podcast is available in three forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. I created the Grassroots Community Activist Movement on November 10th, 1991 on a site called Gopher in order to connect with other like-minded Black people, African immigrants, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Latinos, and Afro-Caribbeans to discuss social issues in America and throughout the diaspora, as well as on the African continent. The movement's objective is to build a new Black movement / African movement by building our own cooperative enterprises within the African American community. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our interactive Black media component. We discuss controversial topics that you won't hear about from the mainstream media using an Afrocentric perspective. We are committed to reporting truthful and accurate news. We believe that now is the time for a comprehensive new strategy and a new movement for Black people / African people. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. I give Black authors and ordinary law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills to my listeners from around the globe. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcasts and YouTube channels to help them earn extra revenue. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships, grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. After 15 years of being overlooked and rejected, I decided to write and publish my story, quote, "The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, 2nd edition. It's available on Amazon. I talked it over with my publisher, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. They're affiliated with Amazon, about lowering the price to make it affordable for everyone. Now, my book is available in two forms: an ebook that is $6.25, and the paperback for $6.25 plus shipping and handling. Ladies and gentlemen, I also created my virtual store in hopes of generating enough capital to jumpstart my Christian business, Refusal Chicago, which stands for the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. It takes capital to start a business, whether it's a nonprofit or a profit. Unfortunately, my revised book is barely selling, and items on my virtual store is barely selling. I have been paying out of pocket for the business title since 2010. As I explained to my listeners, it's not my burden alone. It takes a team to make a dream work. Black America has rejected my vision and plan for 31 years. This is why I'm reaching out to the Black grassroots and the global African family. My film project is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group before I cut and run to Africa. At this time, all I can do is news commentary, because I refuse to just sit back and twiddle my thumbs. We host our virtual conference every last Saturday of the month until we are able to raise the capital to fund our film project. Our film project is entitled Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins. This is a solution-based docudrama which is based on my experience growing up in the inner cities of Chicago. It's also based on my revised book. And the purpose why I created Recam. This is our Black Panther moment, except it's not owned by Disney. It's owned by us. And when I say us, that is the grassroots community activist movement members. We want to get this film in front of 500 million people worldwide. We will offer a 21st century solution for both domestically within the United States of America and throughout the diaspora. Recam is my gift to Black millennials, Generation Z, and my group members. It's my hope that we can eventually create our own Black film industry, Black hair product industry, and sporting industry. I created a GoFundMe page last April 2022 as a crowdfunding source so that everyone on my Facebook friends list and everyone in my social groups would know exactly where the funds for our film project would end up. This is also to indicate our progress in getting this film fully funded and made. Out of 1,683 people that's on my Facebook friends list, only 5 people have donated to our film project on our GoFundMe page. Then you wonder why our community remains jacked up. All I have is my revised book, my virtual store, my online groups, and this platform. I recommend that if you are serious about working with me and Sister Renee and turning my vision and plan for Black America and Africa, then first, purchase my revised book and read my story for yourself. If you agree with what I'm trying to do, then make arrangements with me to come on this podcast so that we can talk about it. Send me a message to my Facebook inbox. I'm using this technology to broadcast my vision and plan to those who will listen. It's my hope that the African immigrant community within the United States of America would come forth and work with me first in getting this film project fully funded and made so that we can build Grekai Chicago together and make our presence known within the African American community starting in Chicago. And once that happens, then we will replicate Recam by going to visit 10 African nations. And in each African nation, we're going to set up a chapter. Grekai of Chicago's mission is to help eradicate urban violence in Chicago through arts, culture, commerce, spiritual development, and hosting African tours. We plan on visiting 10 African nations. They are as follows: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. I want to bring the best of the diaspora to each African nation so that we can set up local chapters and do international trade among our people. We aim to reconnect Black entrepreneurs with African entrepreneurs, Black artists with African artists. In this Christian business, our objective is to heal from enslavement and colonization. Since Black America and Black Chicago has overlooked and rejected my vision and plan for the past 31 years, my Christian business will be membership-based. I am only responsible for my members. Those who are not part of us, we will pray for them, we will show them tough love, and we will keep it moving. Our hashtag, not another 31 years. Upcoming events, GCAM, Black Authors and Black Entrepreneurs Affair 2023. Attention Black authors and Black entrepreneurs on my Facebook friends list and in my social groups. If you are serious about coming on my platform to promote your book or business, then make arrangements with me so that we can practice using StreamYard. I would like to have 10 people on the show for each of the following days below. Mark your calendar for Thursday, August 3rd, Friday, August 4th, Saturday, August 5th, Thursday, August 10th, Friday, August 11th, Saturday, August 12th, Thursday, August 17th, Friday, August 18th, Saturday, August 19th, Thursday, August 24th, Friday, August 25th. The objective is to give Black authors and Black entrepreneurs on my Facebook friends list and in my social groups an opportunity to come on this platform and promote their books and business to my listeners from around the globe. For Black authors to help improve literacy rate in the African American community. The grassroots community activist movement is committed to supporting Black authors by providing them a space where their work can be acknowledged, celebrated, and their income stimulated. On the business side, we want to connect the African American consumers with small Black business owners so that they can showcase their products and service before the African American consumers from across the United States of America. Please mark your calendar for our next GCAM virtual conference, Saturday, August 26, 2023. I am encouraging all of my Christian group members and Light of the World Inspirational Group and Christian Spoken Word Network to stand up and for at least 6-8 people to be on our panel. You must make arrangements with me to practice using StreamYard so that we can do a professional show. Theme, minding our own Black business, a Nehemiah moment. Where? Facebook Live /StreamYard. Time, 2 p.m. through 3 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South African Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. Instructions on how to participate on the show. First, watch my video podcast. This is called Side A. After I finish my presentation, then I will open up the phone lines through Facebook Messenger. This is called Side B. You can interact with me in real time either by voice call by clicking on the phone icon or by video call by clicking on the camera icon. Today's topic of discussion is as follows. Black Americans upset with Nigerian immigrant pastor John Amanchukwu. Biden's refusal to support reparations, and there's a cause for assisting anti-Black racism. Our first topic, Black Americans upset with Nigerian immigrant pastor John Amanchukwu has upset many Black Americans because he decided to attend a public school board meeting in Temecula, California, claiming to speak for Black Americans, saying we don't need reparations. I found a video clip entitled Pastor John Amanchukwu erupts at Temecula, California school board meeting. I will play a portion of the audio version. You can watch the full video on my Medium transcript. Just scroll down to show and prove. Fair use YouTube.
There are 10 things that Black students don't need. Number one, we don't need affirmative action. Number two, we don't need equity. Number three, we don't need to be pandered to. Number four, we don't need you to dumb down test scores in order for us to thrive. Number five, we don't need a school system promoting victim mentality. Number six, we don't need the soft bigotry of low expectations as we have heard from other people. We don't need, number seven, critical race theory or intersectionality. Number eight, we don't need reparations or any more welfare states.
Okay, my issue with Pastor John Amanchukwu is who gave him the authority to speak on our issues. He's not a descendant of American slaves. He does not understand our historical history in America. I agree with his statement about affirmative action because it was nothing more than a finance. Black Americans are victims of the white supremacist financial elites. That's the reason why they're trying to rewrite the history books. Why he's not focusing on Nigerian issues and trying to help improve the conditions in his homeland. He's an embarrassment to Nigeria. I have lots of Nigerians in my African group, Rakai of Africa, who rocks with Black Americans. This is why I'm reaching out to African immigrants within the United States. First, to read my story and donate what you can to our film project. This will help speed up the process. Mark my words, once we start building the Rakai of Chicago and start making a positive impact in the African American community, mark my words, everyone will come out the woodworks and want to be a part of this new movement in Black America. Again, I am a Black man of principles, and the principles written in my revised book is the code. If it was not for Black Americans, then African immigrants and Black immigrants would not be over here. Do the research. Look at the American migration policy prior to the 1960s. The new strategy that the white supremacist financial elites are using are non-white immigrants to promote their agenda. Just like what happened to affirmative action. They used Asians to roll back policies our people fought and died for. This is why Black America needs to wake up and embrace my vision and plan before 2050, because afterwards, Black America as a collective will end up becoming a permanent underclass in America. These new groups that's coming over here would care less about our struggles that our ancestors face. They only come in here to get the bag. Our biggest problem as Black people is this Willie Lynch mentality within Black society. The grassroots community activist movement will declare war on this mentality head on once we're able to get our film project fully funded and made. We will separate ourselves from the enemy within. Those are con artists, hardened criminals, degenerates, pedophiles, off-code Negroes, and urban terrorists. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Our second topic, Biden refusal to support reparations. I found an article from Fox News entitled, quote, Biden blowing off black voters. Reparations activists say the president needs to act, unquote. I'm not going to read the entire article, only a portion. You are more than welcome to read the full article. It's on my Medium transcript under Show and Prove. President Biden is taking black voters for granted and losing their support by remaining silent on reparations for black Americans as a way to make amends for slavery and racism, according to pro-reparationist activist Yvonne Carnell, co-founder of ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. Quote, I believe the Biden administration's stance is emblematic of the Democratic Party's benign and neglect of black voters / ADOS voters, more specifically. Black voters are whipped into a frenzy around election times, and the Republicans are made into boogeymen who, as Biden himself said back in 2012, want to put y'all back in change. It's fear-mongering rather than offering a reparations framework or a transformative black agenda that we can actually get excited about. Biden is facing increased pressure to use his authority to either support legislation or unilaterally enact proposals that would advance efforts to give out reparations, especially as the campaign for cities and states to pay reparation at a more local level gains major momentum across the country. At the federal level, lawmakers have introduced their own measures. Most recently, Representative Cori Bush introduced a proposal in May to pay $14 trillion to compensate for what she believes are racist government policies that created a wealth gap between white and black people. While critics have dismissed the proposal as absurd and unrealistic, supporters argue it sends an important message. Many black voters are starting to become upset with Biden and the Democrats over reparations. Let's focus on the unrealistic part. During the pandemic, the American government spent $2.6 trillion. $1.6 trillion was spent during fiscal year 2020. The majority of that money was spent in 1 year. Notice, none of the critics against reparations said anything during the pandemic. The American government has given Ukraine $113 billion of our tax dollars. What about all of the American taxpayer dollars going to non-American citizens, illegal Latino immigrants who are crossing the borders? Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and the City Council approved $51 million to asylum seekers and asked for an additional $25 million. Where is the outcry from white America? If the white supremacist financial elites would have just left us alone after slavery and during Reconstruction, then we wouldn't have this conversation. There were 60 well-known black towns that our ancestors built in America, but they were all destroyed by the white supremacist financial elites. The white supremacist financial elites know exactly what their ancestors did to our ancestors. They know about the massacres that happened in our black towns. For example, Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Wilmington Massacre of 1889, and Lake Lanier. White America continues to benefit from slave money through major corporations, institutions, and even the Catholic Church. The wealth gap today between blacks and whites stem from American slavery. The white supremacist financial elites have an agenda, is to use public policy to legalize the destruction of my people. All of the thousands of acres of lands that the white supremacist financial elite stole from black people, then you wonder why we don't have wealth. We didn't get into this condition because we're lazy. It's because we have been sabotaged. Congresswoman Bush legislation challenged the notion that reparation for black people have to wait for the right political moment and aren't feasible, said uh, Desert Health, an activist and reparation expert who for years worked as a researcher at Human Rights Watch. The quote, the American public should read through the entire proposal to identify the long range of government sanctions harmed on Black America and how that has affected the healthness of the country at large. Congresswoman Bush proposed details the impact of chattel slavery and living legacies such as environmental racism, lower life expectancy rates, maternal and infant mortality, over policing, over incarceration, and predatory lending, unquote. Health noted the 14 trillion figure didn't come from Bush, but was previously calculated by pro-reparation economists. Less ambitiously, several Democrats in Congress have backed a bill establishing a commission to study and develop reparation proposals for lawmakers to consider implementing. However, Biden has largely been silent about such initiatives, and the White House didn't respond to multiple requests for comment this week to clarify the president's position on reparations and seek his response to critics claiming he needs to do more. This is what President Biden is thinking. I do not support reparation. I am in favor of Emmett Till Memorial. I'm in favor of June as a federal holiday because this won't cost the country anything. It's symbolism. The Democrats want us to come out and vote for them while we get nothing for our vote. Yet illegal Latino immigrants and Ukraine are getting tangibles off the black vote. We have to continue to put our history to these politicians. We must take the position of no reparations, no vote, in order to show these politicians we mean business. Once the Democrats start prioritizing us, then we will prioritize them. How can the Democrats prioritize Black Americans? By supporting lineage-based cash reparations for descendants of American slave/freemen as a unison message while putting the legislation out there. I encourage my group members and my listeners who reside within the United States of America to become single issue voters. We have to be single issue voters about lineage-based cash reparations. It's getting real out here because we as Black people, the descendants of American slaves/freemen, are starting to make our voices heard beyond the internet. Lineage-based reparation is the new civil rights movement. We're finishing the fight of our ancestors that Dr. King Jr. was going to focus on before his assassination. The grassroots community activist movement aimed to strengthen the Black family while improving the African American community, but let's keep it a buck. I have little to no support for what I'm trying to build. This is why I created this platform, so that I can broadcast my vision and plan in order to reach like-minded Black people and African people. The sooner we build the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, the sooner we can expand to 10 African nations. How do we build Ghettos Chicago? By purchasing my revised book and donating to our film project. Ghettos is interactive. I want all of my active group members to benefit from this movement. I am not running for public office. I am trying to get our story on the big screen so that the Black world will take us serious. Ghettos would take the lead in solving our social issues domestically within the United States of America and internationally when we make our presence known in Africa, the Caribbean, and in Brazil. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Our third topic, there's a cause for assisting anti-Black racism. We're examining Ron DeSantis and the consequences for assisting anti-Black racism. We have a situation in Florida where politicians are openly saying we're going to reinstate Jim Crow by rewriting the history books to indoctrinate Black children with outright lies. Governor Ron DeSantis is making it part of the curriculum to say that some Black people benefited from slavery because it taught them useful skills. Our ancestors mastered agriculture in Africa way before the Europeans arrived in Africa. When I explained to my group members and my listeners about how the white supremacist financial elites are using the buffer classes, which are non-white immigrant people like the Asians who help roll back affirmative actions, hopefully this will open Black people's eyes about what I've been preaching about online and offline for the past 31 years. I found a video clip entitled, quote, Florida Department of Education stacks Black History Task Force with DeSantis allies, unquote. I am encouraging my listeners to watch the video clip on my Medium transcript and scroll down to show and prove. Remember what I said a few months ago, that anti-woke is code word for anti-Black. I will play the audio version. Fair use YouTube.
Okay, yeah, so we've got an update for you. We told you in April that Florida's African American History Task Force has been shrinking for years. After our investigation, the state has now appointed 6 new members. But here's the thing. Are you a supporter of the Stop Woke Act?
Absolutely.
The Department of Ed is stacking the task force with allies of Governor Ron DeSantis. 5 of the 6 are active in Republican politics. Some are openly anti-woke, against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and opposed to the AP African American Studies curriculum. And their first meeting got heated.
This has been one of the most asinine discussions I've had in a long time.
Let's see what's brewing. Hey, I'm Jenna Bourne, and I'm an investigative reporter at 10 Tampa Bay. If you're new here, welcome to our caffeine-fueled deep dive into issues that matter to you. Surrounded by images of civil rights figures and educators, this is Leaders Row. The path in Tampa's Perry Harvey Park felt like the right place for this conversation.
All our students need is an opportunity. First of all, to find out who we are and understand the richness of their culture.
You might remember African American History Task Force Vice Chair Dr. Samuel Wright from our previous story.
We shouldn't just talk about Harriet Tubman or talk about Rosa Parks. We need to talk about all of the contributions that Black folks have made in America.
Florida law requires schools to teach Black history, and the Florida Commissioner of Education's African American History Task Force helps districts comply. In April, we reported that task force had shrunk to just 4 voting members. Only 2 of them showed up at the most recent meeting. The Department of Ed hadn't appointed any new people in years, despite members recommending nominees to the state. Days after our investigation came out, Dr. Wright wrote this letter. He asked the Department of Ed to appoint new members before July 1st and asked for a list of nominees they were considering immediately. A couple weeks later, on May 12th, task force members got this email saying the Department of Ed had appointed 6 new members effective May 11th. You know, the day before. Did the Department of Education consult any sitting members of the task force on these new appointees?
No, not at all.
How did it feel being told after the fact?
It wasn't a good feeling. It really wasn't.
Task force members tell us they didn't nominate any of the people selected. It's unclear who nominated or vetted these people, because the Department of Ed still hasn't responded to any of our questions. But the letter those new members got says it was Education Commissioner Manny Diaz who ultimately appointed them.
We don't need to be things to be shoved down our throats about what needs to be done. And I thought it would be nice had they shared those with us prior to making those final appointments. And as long as they don't stifle the progress of the committee, then fine, we welcome them.
We looked into each new member's background and found 5 out of the 6 are active in Republican politics. 4 of the 6 have previously been appointed to positions by Governor Ron DeSantis. Only 2 of the 6 have been a school board member or worked for a school district. Let's start with the lone Democrat of the newbies, State Representative Kimberly Daniels. The Times-Union once described her as perhaps the most conservative Democrat in the legislature. In 2019, she filed a bill that would require all public school districts to offer elective courses on religion, Hebrew scriptures, and the Bible. Daniels also sponsored a bill requiring public schools to display the slogan, "In God We Trust." Now to the 5 Republican appointees. Let's talk about the only new member who's worked for a school district, Tori Alston. Alston previously worked for Miami-Dade County Public Schools as its Economic Equity and Diversity Compliance Officer, and then as its Executive Director for the Office of Economic Opportunity. Governor DeSantis appointed Alston to the school board of Broward County last year.
We look at the math, reading, and writing scores for all different demographics. So we're in process.
He's now the chair. Before that, the governor appointed him to fill a vacancy on the Broward County Commission. Alston also worked as chief of staff at the Florida Department of Transportation during the DeSantis administration. Now to Glenn Gilsey, who was just voted in as the new district administrator by the Governor DeSantis-appointed Central Florida Tourism Oversight District Board.
The key of the role is just to really keep the trains on track.
He's also chair of the Florida Commission on Ethics, a spot that, you guessed it, Governor Ron DeSantis appointed him to last year. That's kind of his thing, actually. Republican Florida governors have appointed him to 6 positions since 2012. He also used to be on the Pinellas County School Board. Gilsey wrote a guest commentary for the Orlando Sentinel opposing the AP African American Studies curriculum that Governor DeSantis' administration blocked earlier this year.
This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. They have stuff about intersectionality, abolishing prison. That's a political agenda.
Gilsey's commentary said the curriculum clearly has a component that does nothing to advance the teaching of Black history, but only the political agenda of a small minority.
Well, we'll have to get him straightened out and educate him.
Dr. Frances Presley Rice is chair of the National Black Republican Association. She's a retired lawyer and U.S. Army colonel. According to her Facebook, she works on documentaries about African American history. Governor DeSantis also appointed new task force member John Davis to his current gig, Secretary of the Florida Lottery. He previously held a leadership role with the Republican Party of Florida, over to Politico and News Service of Florida. And finally, number 6. Out of all of these new appointees, Florida House Representative Bernie Schacht is the only one who agreed to talk to us. He represents Largo and parts of Seminole, Pinellas Park, and Clearwater.
So my goal with the task force is to make sure, when it comes to African American history, that we are involved in education, which is very important, and not indoctrination. And really to teach our students the basics and not ideology that makes them either hate each other or hate their country.
Governor DeSantis previously appointed Representative Schacht to Florida's 6th Circuit Judicial Nominating Commission. In his first legislative session, he co-sponsored a bill that the governor signed into law in May, banning Florida colleges and universities from spending public money on programs or campus activities that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, also known as DEI. Do you think DEI has a place in K-12 schools?
I don't. This DEI concept, it really puts a damper, especially if you're a minority student, that somehow the chips are stacked against you, that somehow past occurrences are holding you back now.
So you don't think that past occurrences in the Black community are holding back those children now?
No, this is a land of tremendous opportunities, and when we teach history, we should teach it all, right? The good, bad, the ugly, everything in between. But to tell somebody today, in 2023, that because of the way they look, that they're somehow less likely to succeed, I think it's wrong. I would not be where I am today if I thought that.
Jacques opposes the AP African American Studies curriculum we mentioned earlier. We asked him about the Stop Woke Act that Governor DeSantis signed into law last year. Among other things, it changed Florida's law requiring students to learn about Black history, adding that classroom instruction and curriculum may not be used to indoctrinate or persuade students to a particular point of view. Are you a supporter of the Stop Woke Act?
Absolutely, 100%.
What does woke mean to you?
Well, woke to me is Marxist ideology. So it's a divisive ideology that pits people against each other based on the way they look.
We want to point out that's not how Governor DeSantis' own lawyer defines it. During court proceedings in December over the governor's ousting of Hillsborough State Attorney Andrew Warren, which is a whole story in itself, Florida Politics reported that DeSantis' general counsel, Ryan Newman, was asked to define woke. And he responded that woke is the belief there are systemic injustices in American society and the need to address them.
Florida is where woke knows you die. Woke, die, die.
The task force had its first meeting together on June 7th, and things got heated.
Respect. No matter how much respect, but I want to make sure that we get respect still believe that we can deal with his and I just think it's about this much right now to do that.
Pardon the interruption. Please allow me, to place explicit interruption. I would like to remind you that all task force members, and I've not heard anyone say otherwise, are educated, accomplished professional adults. So let's please maintain a tone of respect and civility as you represent the Commissioner of Education in the public eye.
And the first vote taken was a 6-4 split, precisely divided between new members and old, to postpone the task force's virtual summer institute next week, which hundreds of educators were scheduled to attend.
The motion on the floor is to postpone the scheduled summer institute that is currently scheduled for June 14th and 15th for a short time until after the State Board of Education has adopted the revised the new African American history standards.
That adoption is expected to happen next month, but no new date has been set for the Summer Institute.
Just hearing that, new standards go into effect from July 1, I think we're slighting the opportunity for all of our educators to have the new standards and use it.
I find it very interesting that the new task force members, and it seems like all of them, have made a decision that they want to pause something that many of them have said that they don't even know anything about.
The Florida Department of Education still hasn't answered a single question that we've sent them on task force membership since March, or responded to any of our public records requests. In March, we showed up to Commissioner Diaz's office in Tallahassee. But we're checking to see if Commissioner Manny Diaz is here today, and we showed up to this African American History Task Force meeting. But the Department of Ed people there wouldn't answer our questions in person either. We're not taking questions on this time. Well, when are you taking questions? Because we've been emailing you and calling you with questions for weeks. I've been trying and they haven't responded to me. either.
You could provide them to communication. I certainly have been doing this.
We'll keep reaching out, and Dr. Wright says he plans to keep speaking out.
This is my take from the video clip. Governor Ron DeSantis placed 6 African Americans on the task force. White supremacist financial elites always does things like this to black people. Notice they don't pull this with any other group. You will never hear such thing as a anti-LGBT task force or an anti-Jewish task force. The Department of Education is in cahoots with Ron DeSantis' agenda by allowing the task force to be biased from the get-go. The state of Florida task force has practiced benign neglect for years. We see how this is played out in certain communities. I discussed in my revised book. For example, when you go to a black part of town, you will see potholes everywhere, schools in rundown conditions, and a toxic environment for young people. In contrast, when you go to a white part of town, the streets are well kept. You will find quality schools and a safe environment for kids. This is not by accident. This is by design, and most of the problems are our own fault for giving all the power to these black politicians who are in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. The system is rigged against us in the first place. Ask me why. Because the white supremacist financial elites control the budget and who can be appointed on the task force, not elected to the task force. See how that works? They are appointing people in Texas, Oklahoma, and across the United States of America. People who they can control and serve their interests, not the community interests. There's a reason why they created a permanent process so that they can choose which neighborhoods they're going to target and destroy. If you all understand what I'm talking about, then give me the thumbs up emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. When people come across this video podcast, they need to see that black people are engaged in this. This is not a game. This is life and death. If you can erase the greatest crime in human history, then white supremacy will continue until Jesus returns. People who have been on the task force for years have been suggesting names to the state. They ignored their recommendations. Then all of a sudden, the state appointed 6 new members. This is what's going on in Black America. I'm trying to find brave and smart black people who will come forth and work with me directly in starting a new movement in Black America called GRCAM, where we can make our presence known in the African American communities on the west side of Chicago, then expand to the south side of Chicago. We can fix these socio-economic issues within 2 years, but we have to build good Chicago while we have time left, a little time left. We want to work directly with single black mothers, single black fathers, in order to do the best we can to improve our communities and make it as comfortable as possible. Connecting with African immigrants within Chicago to help us unify and improve the African American community by learning from each other and doing business with one another, holding our members accountable for their actions and rewarding our members by giving young people an opportunity to be in our Black empowerment films. We will raise the bar in Black America, then we will host our African tour so that we can move beyond Black America and make our presence known in Africa, the Caribbean, and in Brazil. Florida Representative Bernie Jakes said in the video, you shouldn't think that the chips were stacked against you. That's not his job to persuade the children that the chips are not. It becomes dangerous when the school systems don't want your children to think for themselves. I post the paperwork on Representative Bernie Jakes on my Medium transcript under Show and Prove. The reason alone is why we have to build Gurkai, Chicago, while we still have a little time left. The thing they object is woke for them is a belief that there are systematic injustice in American society that need to be addressed. That's woke. The only Democrat on the task force, Representative Kimberly Daniels, yes, a black woman who said she thanks God for slavery. I found a video of her saying that. I'm not going to play it, but if you want to listen to it, go to my Medium transcript, scroll down to Show and Prove. I found a video from NBC Nightly News about American Chinatown. To watch the full video, just go to my Medium transcript and scroll down to Show and Prove. This is my take on the video clip. It is a perfect example of what's happened when you decide to buddy up with our open enemy, the white supremacist financial elites. Eventually, he is going to turn against you. All the things we've been talking about, gentrification, lack of investment, and constant development projects like sport stadiums and eminent domain. They talked about aging business owners without a succession plan are fighting up against mega corporations who their succession plans are through their bylaws. We've been patronizing all these other groups, yet they are not reciprocating our business. We support Asian hair supply stores and their nail salons. They have made it a cultural norm not to support black businesses. I don't wish any ill so whatsoever on any Chinatowns in America. Now all of a sudden what we have been experienced with our towns are now happening in their towns. And they're saying exactly what we've been saying all along. We need investment, resources, and benefits. Well, the Asian community got what they got the Asian hate crime bill and resources. If it was not for us, there would be no 13th, 14th, or 15th Amendment that allowed non-white immigrants to come to America. There was never a bloody Sunday in the Asian community, the Latino community, or in the Jewish community. We have done enough for all these other groups. Now it's our time to focus on solving our own issues, and that is to get our reparations. You all have to start fighting your own battles. Please leave a public comment on my YouTube page about the topic. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. I would like to thank everyone who have donated to our film project on our GoFundMe page, those who have purchased my revised book on my Amazon author page, those who have purchased items from our virtual store or have gave a direct donation through our PayPal page. You can find all of the links in the comment section below this video podcast. Until next time, peace and blessings.